back. Finally. Almost
Yeah.
the semifinals, technically ish, kinda.
I guess.
It's weird. We'll talk about it. Hello, and welcome to The Cup, the Currently Unnamed Podcast, where we put the real in the tea in reality. You can always come for us to quench your thirst. I'm Eduardo, the Mexican representative of this podcast. I'm here to talk shit and get hit. Today I am feeling dramatic as hell for no particular reason. Don't worry about it. But yeah, I'm excited to talk more Lamas, and this is definitely a different week. Don't worry about it.
For real this time.
For real this time.
Well, I'm David Healy, and I don't have a cute shirt, but I do have a cute cat. I do have a cute shirt and a cute cat. And get out of the way. I am wearing my Aquaria shirt.
Oh my god.
Pretty.
Yes. But right now, I'm just drinking on some water. I have a few little remnants left to it.
Mm-hmm.
But do you not have a cup mug?
I do.
You can get your cup mug. I want to see creation.etsy.com. The link will be down in the description if you want to look like David right now.
Mm-hmm.
And put your pills in there.
And hi, I'm River, your Brazilian correspondent here on The Cup. And today I am drinking some water out of my skull mug because, you know, Lamas.
It feels appropriate.
It feels correct. Yes. On theme.
On theme. Well, today we will be talking about Más Draga episode 5. As I said, the semifinals, quote unquote. We will get to it, why this is unquote. But before we do that, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. We have all of our links in the description below for all of our socials, all of our other channels. If you want to see us talk about reality television, it's down there. If you want to see us talk about wrestling, it's down there. If you want to see Eurovision Song Contest, it's down there as well. I'm in that channel, and we are doing a lot of stuff there. I am tired. I stayed up until 2 a.m. yesterday to do one of those videos, so you better go watch it.
Ooh.
You better go watch it. And I'm pulling an all-nighter today because of that. So you better go watch our videos of Eurovision. But yeah, all of our links will be down.
It's not a suggestion, it is a threat.
Yes, absolutely. I am threatening you. If not, I'm putting you in the ofrenda. Anyways, the links will be down in the description below for all of our other channels and all of our socials. And with that being said, let's get into it. We get no conversations. We get no talks. We just get straight into the challenge. Just straight.
No one talks about Lana being gone. Like,
no.
She's like.
Did they not?
No, not in any
really.
way, shape, or form.
Mm-mm.
Did they talk about her later?
Yes.
I believe
with
so.
the mirror conversation.
Yeah,
they mention it a little bit, yes.
Lana gets talked about a little further down the line, but the episode just starts and Johnny's immediately in the NYX Lounge, just immediately telling us what we're doing. And
I was not listening, let me tell you, because Eva in those overalls, I
told y'all last week.
I'm sweating for different reasons. Honestly.
Last week, I told y'all that this episode, Eva was going to wear some damn overalls and that I just could not take my eyes off of her.
Oh my God.
Fully.
Yeah, that was the very first thing I had in my notes was, there's the overalls.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, Eva should pull a pixie. If you know, you know. That's just my thoughts. Just my thoughts. I don't know if anyone agrees with me, but that's just my thoughts.
Wouldn't be mad.
I would like to see it. I would like to see it. I would pay money for that. Anyways, as I said, Johnny just comes straight into the NYX Lounge, and he tells us that today we are honoring telenovelas, and we are doing La Más Dramática. We're specifically talking about the telenovelas from the 80s and the 90s. That's all I wanted to say. Mm-hmm. David, what do you want to say?
He also was like, you all are in so much better spirits this week. And I was like, oh, is that shade to Lana? They're like, we didn't care about her as much as Deborah Main.
I mean, the shade.
I kind of understand, it was shady. It was shady. But they kind of mentioned that like Deborah, or I don't know if they mentioned in this episode, but like Deborah was just such a like a huge personality and just like filled the room kind of. So I feel like maybe her being gone was more of a, they felt it more because she was just took so much space in a good way.
Yeah.
But they did seem to all like Lana. They just didn't really mention anything. The question
Yeah.
pointed.
Yeah. And I guess we'll talk about it a little bit more, but it seems like everyone knew that Lana was going to go home. So there wasn't this sense of shock or like, oh, someone that we loved just went home and we weren't fully ready to let her go. So
Yeah.
I feel like they did their mourning way before this
Mhm.
episode started. I will say that.
Or maybe they were just in a good mood because they made the semifinals. Like that would
They thought it was the
allegedly.
finals.
Yeah. They were like,
Apparently, they thought it was the finals.
no, they didn't think it was the finals. They were confused as to why the Alebrije runway wasn't the finals. But then we get told why it wasn't the final. Because this time, we're not just having the runway challenge. Oh, no, 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 no. We're having a mini challenge as well.
Mini
On top of that.
reto.
Mini reto. Our first mini reto of all of
Or
La
as the
Mas.
subtitles say, and Logan loved this in season 6, a surprise challenge.
The surprise challenge. Well, it was a surprise because the girls weren't expecting it.
Mhm.
The girls are gonna have to recreate an iconic scene from a telenovela called Mujeres Engañadas, in which mother and daughter have an argument because the daughter is making out with her boyfriend. And it's really campy, it's really wild, and I was very excited when I saw this because this is, although I don't watch telenovelas, I know this scene. All of Mexico knows this scene. It's absolutely iconic, and so
Cochina!
Cochina, Cochina.
I was excited to
It's
see the girls like do something other than just the runway.
Mhm.
And I mean, just because we can see more facets to their talents
Yeah.
and who they are. So like I enjoy seeing more of them.
Yeah, that's why I like more modern season of Lamos, because like it really, they are still showing off the looks, but it's so performance based with how you show off your looks, and I really like that aspect. But like what we're watching now, it really is, they're just walking the tiny little runway, maybe giving like a little bit of flair to it, but it's definitely not at the level that it will be eventually.
But if you
yeah,
think about season 1 of Drag Race, like it was kind of that as well, you know, with the
they
filter
had a
and all,
selfie
and the
challenge
small ass
in
runway.
season 1. So like, yeah, this is exactly what we come to expect. Yeah, we're not at Solo Las Mas levels where they force them to run that obstacle course. We're not there quite yet. Yeah, River, in some
Oh,
point, they make the girls run an inflatable obstacle course, and
In
girls
drag.
get hurt. The girls get hurt.
okay. I'm excited to see that. Not them getting hurt. I mean, if it's
Yeah,
not
and they
serious,
make
if it's
them.
like funny, you know.
Yeah, it's so funny because they also force them to wear costumes while doing it, and it's absolute insanity.
Mhm.
Absolute insanity. But this time around, it's gonna be a little more like drag race challengey. We have a technical acting challenge, and no one is happy about this.
No one is, and I'm like,
No one is
why?
happy because
Why?
the girls weren't ready for this. The girls did not want to do an acting challenge. This is not what they signed up for. And you know what? If I were in that situation, I think I would also not be super happy. Although I am like I do like to act. I like if I came into this competition just being like, oh, this is a look based like competition and slightly performance, and then you told me, oh, you have to learn a whole scene, you have to perform it in front of the judges, I would be terrified. I would be absolutely terrified.
Because I think it was more because they were not prepared. And I think some of the girls mentioned that they still had a little bit of work to do on their looks. So like maybe they weren't counting on that time to do that. And so they were caught off guard and had to, you know, work around it.
Yeah. But luckily for them, they're gonna get some help from our special, not judge,
Mentor?
mentor.
Yeah,
Yes, our special mentor. We have a
After
coach here.
after we get pairs first, though.
Yeah, we get pairs first, and I don't remember who picks the pair. I didn't write it down.
Margaret.
It was
Margaret.
It was
Margaret.
Margaret because
She
she
won
was
that.
the winner, and then she got to choose.
Yeah, and she does choose to keep it in family lines. So the Durangos are together, while her and Bárbara uh, are.
It's
No, not Bárbara.
Margaret and Deborah, and
Margaret
then
and Deborah and
yes,
Bárbara.
and Barbara
is
and
her-
Deborah.
There you go.
The
There you
other
go.
old lady name.
All their old lady name. Barbara and Deborah. Girl,
Oh
these
my God, they are
names.
all old
And
lady
Margaret,
names.
too. Maybe not Ava. Ava could be a younger name. But
Girl,
the
it's
old
the
other
first
ones.
woman. She's the oldest woman in the world.
Oh, I guess
It's
that's
the
true.
oldest name that you
The
could have.
first, literally.
But the other ones
Literally the
sound like
oldest.
straight up out of like the 1950s.
I mean, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I have never met another. Well, I have met another Deborah, but she was a bitch. So I have never met another Deborah. I have never met a Barbara in my life, and I have never met a Margaret in my life. So I guess so, if you think about it. Anyways, we get pairs. That's what matters, and then we get our coach. Then we get our coach, who is Checo Munoz. Checo Munoz is an actor, a director, and producer, and he will be here to help out the girls with this scene. I'm not particularly familiar with Checo Munoz, but he's pretty, so I'm not
Yeah.
complaining.
I looked
That's
him
what I
up immediately after he showed up on the screen. I was like, would I know him from anything? And I went to his Instagram and I saw he's doing, I think, a Mexican version of Sweeney Todd. And I freaking love Sweeney Todd. So, yeah, he seems to be the Sweeney Todd in it. So that's pretty
I
cool.
think
Wonderful.
he does. I'm assuming that he does like musical theater, like in actual theaters, not movies.
Yep.
Yeah.
So maybe that's like we would not know him like people from Mexico would probably.
Yeah. And I don't frequent the theater enough, unfortunately.
I wonder if he
so-
was in that Mexican musical that was very popular recently.
Oh my God.
I am going to punch you so hard. This is
It lost. It lost, everybody. It lost.
well, it won best song still, and I'm
Yeah.
still upset by it.
Well, but you know what? The movie was not about Mexico, so it's fine. You know?
Yeah, apparently the heart and soul of this wasn't Mexico. Although, if you put this story in another country, it doesn't work
It doesn't even it barely makes sense as it is.
fully. Anyways, this is not a podcast talking shit about Emilia Paris. We are talking shit about.
No,
all
we're
of
talking
these
about
folks.
something much, much better than that.
Oh,
Much better.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, the acting that we will see moving forward will be better than the acting in Emilia Paris. I'll just say that straight off the bat. Anyways, and we also get told that the winners of this mini challenge will get an extra point in their final score of the episode. So you want to win this mini challenge to help you out a little bit and to hopefully get you out of the bottom if you were to be there.
They didn't need the extra point.
Yeah, we will get there, but the girls that ended up winning it didn't end up needing in it. But yeah. Yeah, we have our moments with Checo, and I don't have a lot of notes in here. Checo's only telling them to be really absurd in their acting, which I really appreciate that we're getting told to overact. If we're doing camp, might as well go absurd with it. And like,
Because it's like telenovelas are already like overacting.
Camp.
It's already camp and too much. In a drag version of that should play into that even more, and like find ways to elevate it and make it even campier and even more absurd. And also he mentioned, I don't know if it was the mentor or Johnny that mentioned that they gave him like a script of the scene, but it was just like the skeleton, and that they didn't have to be married to the text.
Yep.
It was just a base that they could work off of and, build around and change and adapt to their drag characters.
Yes.
So I like that because I didn't want to watch like the same scene, but it's nice to see like what their vision of the scene is in the pairs.
Yeah, I will say though, my subtitles that were translated to English, they just kept going out for long periods during this whole part. So I saw that he was like giving lots of advice to Margaret and Deborah. I'm saying it again. It's Deborah. I don't know why I keep putting the accent earlier. But he was giving so much advice to them, and I was like, I can't follow what he's telling them. I did pick up a little bit about like it's okay to overact. At first I was like, is he gonna tell them don't overact like you might assume they do in telenovelas? But I'm glad that he didn't tell them that.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was kind of telling them to like amp it up a little bit.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
I always think of I think it's a telenovela, but there's a clip I've seen where a woman gets smacked and she just spins and then like gets tangled in the curtains. Like that is the best.
Starts choking herself with the curtains. Yes.
That's
and you
the
have
level
not
I
seen
want.
This.
Exactly.
There is another scene from a telenovela. This one I know for sure it's from a telenovela, where a woman gets hit by a car, but not really. So like the car passes her and kind of parks in front of her, and she starts spinning across like the hood of the car, and then like it's very obvious that it wouldn't happen, and so she starts spinning, and then she falls and hits her head on the rearview mirror, and then just like fucking dies. I think she fully dies from it. It's so camp. It's so wild. It's absolute insane. The amount of like the death scenes in telenovelas are always so campy. They're always so campy. And so I am very glad that we are really taking it over the top here. And specifically, I'm really glad that Bárbara is really taking it there for me. Because Bárbara, holy shit. I think Bárbara was in this moment, she was like, well, I'm probably gonna not make the final. I'm probably gonna go home this episode, so I'm just gonna have fun. And that sense of fun really helped her out here because it was so campy and so over the top. It was incredible to watch.
Off the bat, when she came out in that wig, and it was like dun, dun,
Cochina.
So, and immediately doing the most, I loved it. So good.
It was like the most open shut case I've ever seen where I'm like, okay, I know who's going to do really well this week. Because everybody else, you could tell they were trying, but they weren't like super committed to it.
Yeah.
Bárbara, she was as committed as anybody could be to this role. And I was living.
Yeah.
She heard overacting, got it.
And I didn't expect it.
Yeah.
I honestly thought she might be the most reserved person out of this group of four. So I just was not expecting her to deliver as hard immediately in the rehearsal.
Yeah. It was wild. And honestly, her acting is better than some of the other girls' acting with the final scene done. So
like the rehearsal was better than like some of
fully.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fully. Yeah.
Like,
and poor Eva just was having a hard time not laughing, especially when she was being slapped and hit and kicked.
I mean, the good thing is that if she's getting hit and kicked, she can kind of cover her face and kind of laugh a little bit. So I guess that's a plus for Eva, that she is getting hit and punched all over the place because she can kind of turn away and laugh. But yeah, I would also have a tough time keeping my cool with Bárbara because I would be laughing so much.
I really like the choice. I don't know if how they decided like who was going to do which part, but I love that they chose Bárbara to be the mother and Eva to be the child, because it's like the height difference made it even better because it gave us like a visual gag. It was all of the choices that they made was just very smart.
Yes, it was so good. Well, we finish our moments with the mentor with I forgot his name, with Quecho. We finish our moment with Quecho and we get back to the NYX Lounge, and here's where we start talking about Lana, where everyone's saying that Lana was had given up hope a little bit in the competition, and she was constantly saying that she was the next to get eliminated and that she was seeing the writing on the wall. And so that like no one was kind of surprised when she did go home.
She didn't seem surprised when she went. You know.
I mean,
Mhm.
she said it herself last episode that if the judges weren't living for her, what's the point of her being there? So
I feel like she maybe like she kind of felt and saw that the judges didn't really connect maybe with her style of drag, and it's just like, okay, if every challenge is me putting my style of drag onto something else, if you don't like my style, you're not gonna like, you know what I mean? Like they're not gonna like anything that she does, basically, because it would be very hard to win them over with being herself. So I felt kind of bad for her, but I enjoyed her, honestly.
Me too.
Yeah, I love Lana's drag, and so it was kind of sad to see her be so down on herself and to hear that she was constantly thinking that she was going to go home. But she's doing better now,
Good.
I guess.
I still want to follow all of these queens, but I'm nervous to until I finish the season. So, like,
that's fair.
Even if I know that they didn't win, if I know that they are eliminated, I'm like, I don't want to risk it until I'm done.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, the subtitles again weren't working for me very well in this scene. So I was like, I can't really follow this conversation. But who is Lalo? They kept talking about Lalo.
Okay, so this is what I was also going to bring up. So they were talking about this random Lalo, and I'm a little confused because in Mexico, they call Eduardo's Lalo, like as a nickname. So I constantly was like, are they talking to me? Hello? What is going on here? I am scared. I am nervous. Hello? My thought process is that they were probably talking about Lorena, because my thought process is that they're combining La and Lo from Lorena. And so she is Lalo, La Lorena.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's my thought process, but we never get confirmation as to who Lalo is.
What were they saying though? Like, what was the context for the?
I have no clue. There was not a lot of context.
Oh, if you don't know.
I didn't write it down. I was just like, they're talking about a Lalo. I don't know why Lalo.
You were too busy focusing on your Pavlovian response of like, what? I'm hearing my name.
Yeah, fully. I was like, why are they talking to me? I am sorry. I was too distracted to really pay attention to see why they were doing it.
What's up?
I am telling you, I need Eva to pull a Pixie. I need it now. I need it on my screen. I will pay money. Please. Lord.
Yep. You heard it
here.
You heard it here first.
We've been new that I think Eva is incredibly hot.
Oh, yes.
We've been new. And like, it would be silly for y'all to disagree with me.
Oh, no. Oh, not at all. I'm fully on the same page. Why would I be? Hello.
Fully. Hello. Anyways, yeah, that's about it. We don't get a lot more conversations.
Margaret was nervous. She's not confident in her acting, and she was mentioning something about a song, which made me think, like, wait, are they going to perform a song too?
Oh no, I think she was talking about. Wasn't she talking about that she connected with the Lipsync song? I don't know if it was
maybe
for this week or like the week before.
I didn't write it down, so I don't fully remember the conversation.
And you watched it like a week ago or two.
I watched it like a week ago, yes. So because breaking the fourth wall here, we were supposed to film 2 in a row, and then we didn't. So I had watched both of the episodes that we were going to do, and then we just recorded one. So I just didn't rewatch this one, and so I don't remember what Margaret was talking about with this song. But I'm guessing she was talking about this lip sync song.
Probably.
Because I'm pretty sure she was talking about one of the songs like that they had to lip sync on the show. I'm pretty sure. So I don't know if she was talking about like a previous week or if it was this week. I don't think it was that relevant, not even relevant to the conversation.
Yeah, I don't think it was relevant. That's for sure. Because if it was relevant, I would have written it down. And it's not written down.
True.
So it's not relevant. So it doesn't matter that I don't remember it. Because it's not relevant.
Oh, no.
Anyways, if we don't have any more things to talk about with the NYX Lounge,
This is why
Hello?
I don't.
Lorena just kidnapped all of us
She took.
and stole our show.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Okay, now Lorena is allowed to be on our screens because we are talking about the runway. Yeah, so Lorena did thank her makeup artist and stylist, which I did appreciate. I was living for that.
The designer of the dress as well. Love it.
Yes, as well. So
Mhm.
I was living for this moment. I appreciate it when hosts do that, like when Mama Pao does it as well. I
Mhm.
really appreciate it. So I really appreciate it here. And we have our judges as well here. But for some reason, apparently the guest judge couldn't make it because of traffic. So now we have Letal as one of our judges.
Do you think that's true?
No clue?
Maybe they had someone and that person like canceled last minute or something.
Mm.
I don't know.
Can
I just say, in this picture that we have here, where she is placed, it looks like the back, like where it's like the heart. It looks like it's a headpiece on her, and I'm living.
She sure loves her lacy looks, doesn't she?
Oh, and so do we. I mean, I love it.
I mean, those are her best looks. The other look
I
that
don't
we
really
really
love the
like
hair, but she did mention that it was like to be on theme with the 80s and 90s like telenovelas, so she probably took inspiration from some character or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but I do have a theory as to why it was just the four of them, but I'll get into that later.
Okay. Well, let's get into this looks, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
So up first, well, la categoría es la más dramática, which means the most dramatic, which definitely is gonna be true once this episode ends. Tammy Brown would win this challenge. Absolutely.
Oh, we have.
Oh, fully.
We have a sound clip of that now. Where is it?
I'm acting. I'm acting. I'm acting.
There you go.
Love it.
Wonderful. And for the first time, I was able to hear it. Woo!
Yeah.
I win.
Yes.
Yeah, normally I'm not able to hear the sound clip, so I am so happy that I was able to hear that one. Anyways, yeah, let's get into the looks. Up first, we have Deborah. Thoughts?
Okay, so before we get into it, I will say, disclaimer, I don't know any of the references that they were making, so...
This is Rosa Garcia.
Well, thank you, but that doesn't change. I have no idea. I don't know.
For the audience, this is Rosa Garcia.
Yes. So I'm not like how well she did the reference or any of that. Like I'm not taking that into consideration because there's no way that I could. So I'm just gonna be talking about the look and the presentation. I didn't like either. I didn't think it was horrible, but I think out of everyone, she had my least favorite look and my least favorite presentation. I did, though, really love her makeup and especially like the teardrops that she did. That was like very like big and dramatic. I really like that. And I like this hair on her. But to me, like the best thing was the shoe reveal. That was so good. And also, with the first outfit, I couldn't tell that she had a reveal underneath it. Like I thought that was the look. And then when I rewinded to watch it again, and I was like, oh, the glove kind of maybe gives it away a little bit because it doesn't really go with the first look, but it goes with it doesn't really go with any of them. But anyway, the first look is fine. I think I don't know. I'm sure she did that because she's referencing something, so it's not just because. But then so I don't really know how to judge the first look, but the second look is a dress. So like, I don't like this dress. I don't like the length. I don't like where the skirt starts, like just right after, like it's so weird where it starts and the way that it makes her shape look. I do love the sleeves though. That's my favorite part of the dress. But she was my least favorite, I think.
Yeah,
I'm sure. I don't think.
this was my least favorite as well. It really did feel like the first look was just like a means to hide whatever she was going to reveal to, and it was never supposed to look good because it doesn't really look good. And then when she does reveal, it's a nice but kind of basic. I've seen it before dress. It's kind of giving me Elsa.
Yeah.
The hair immediately I'm like, this is really old fashioned, but then I'm like, that's probably the point since it's like 80s and 90s, so it fits, but I still don't love the hair. But yeah, for me, the big moment and what actually earned her a lot of extra points was the shoe reveal, because we don't see things like that very often. And this was 2018, so like
Around.
it definitely had not been done very much on TV at that point. And the way she did it so seamlessly, I really thought that was cool. I actually kind of liked her performance of it, the whole thing. But it was just the looks were just so basic. And
Yeah.
spoiler, I'm not gonna love any of the looks this episode.
Yeah. None of them are great, and unfortunately, this is definitely one of the worst ones. Um, I mean, the first look is something. It's pedestrian, but that's what we're going for, so I cannot really blame her for doing that. The second dress, I do agree. It looks like a cheap costumey, like Elsa costume from Party
Like a high
City, or
school
like,
production of Frozen.
yeah, fully. Like we got the cheapest dress from Party City that's supposed to be for Elsa, and this girl stole it and put it on for prom. Uh, that's kind of the feeling that I'm getting. And I think from the neck up, she does give me the like telenovela vibes that I'm kind of wanting to see from her. But from the neck down, it isn't as glamorous as like the stereotypical glamorous woman from telenovelas tends to be. Like there's a cheapness to everything that she's wearing, even the hair. It's just not it, but like the reveal itself was good and the performance of it was fine. Um, yeah, this is unfortunately not my favorite. I'll just say that. Yeah, scores.
I'm still thinking about the white lace gloves. I mean, anyway, 60.
I also gave her a 60.
I gave her a 64.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, up next we have, oh Lord, Margaret Y Ya.
Okay.
She's Patito.
Thank you. This might be controversial, but I do have to say, I would wear the fuck out of this outfit. This is my style. Like, this is my personal style.
River, don't say that. River,
I
don't say
mean,
that.
I would change. I would style it a little bit different. I wish she had, you know, the blue belt. Well, not blue. It's cerulean belt from the Devil Wears Prada. That I would want that to cut that to, because to me my least favorite part is where the yellow skirt meets the pink top. That I don't like that part. I do love the crazy socks with the high heels. Love that. I love the hair, and especially like the big ass clips on the hair. Really cute. And then that she did like the little like the braces and all of that. I know my taste is maybe a little bit too sophisticated for I'm just a little eclectic maybe. But I like it. I really like this. This was my favorite on the night. The look. because I would wear it. So, I can't. It wasn't incredible, amazing, or anything, or groundbreaking. But look-wise, it was my favorite. Her performance was good. I mean, I could kind of it sold the story, and it made the look make sense as to why she was wearing this. But yeah, I like it.
Okay.
And I know that you don't. It's fine.
I mean, there are decent things about it. So I was just trying to see if I could figure out what the reference was. So I Googled Patito. Can you guess what I found when I looked at images?
Small ducks?
Yes. Just a bunch
Yes.
of little ducks.
Patito means little duck.
Okay. I did not know
Yeah.
that. So I then did Patito telenovela. And it seems like there is like a kid telenovela with this like nerdy schoolgirl.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
I'm guessing that's what she's going.
That's who I thought she was.
Okay.
She's from Patito Feo, I think.
Okay. First of all, I thought it was so camp, her socks in those shoes. I was kind of living for that in like ironic way, not in like that's really fashionable. I just appreciated that she was a full character, and I got that immediately. Do I like the look? Not particularly. I don't know. I think I just was expecting it to go somewhere, because even though this was the second one down the runway, I knew at least one of the other people was going to have a reveal. So I was expecting everybody to have a reveal, like bring the dramatics with the look, and that involves making a dramatic reveal. And so when she just walked down and then walked back and left, I was like, oh, it didn't go anywhere. She had her characterization, which I appreciated, but I don't know. I just wanted a little bit more. She left me a little underwhelmed. So this was also in my bottom two.
Yeah, this one was complicated for me to really score, because the look in and of itself is ugly, just straight up ugly. But like that's the point, unfortunately.
Exactly. That's
what
why I
we're
like
going for. We're going for like the ugly duckling. That's literally what the telenovela is called,
Oh.
Ugly Duckling. So we're going for a very nerdy girl that like doesn't know how to like dress herself properly. So
Read me this filth.
River, when you said this was your style, that's why I said, girl, don't say that. Girl, don't say that. Don't say that.
You know what? It's tacky, and so am I. What can I say?
Well, at least you own it. I appreciate that. At least you own it. Yeah, like this is my like top thing, because the look in and of itself might be my least favorite look, like actual look. But the characterization is there, and she is going for ugly. So I'm having a little bit of a tough time really knowing how to score it. I think I'll score it more on the basis of the actual look in and of itself rather than the actual presentation of it. Because the presentation, although it was fine, it was still underwhelming. So I don't think it really added any points for me. So overall, I think Margaret was my least favorite this week, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it was a little like, I agree with you with the presentation. It was one note, right? It didn't really, she had the characterization, but it didn't really go anywhere. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, like if the character did something interesting, then I would be a lot more forgiving with you going out of your way to look not great. Like it would make sense with the story, and it still makes sense with the story, but it's just not an interesting story that I care to really look at, unfortunately. So that's why my score is going to be lower, unfortunately. Speaking of scores.
Full. No, I'm just kidding. Could you imagine? No, I gave this a 75.
I gave it a 63.
I gave this a 50.
Ooh.
Okay. Fuck my drag.
Yes. Moving on, we have the wonderful Bárbara. What are our thoughts?
Yeah, and she is Tamara de la Colina.
See, she had my favorite, by far, my favorite presentation on stage. The way that she told the story, like from the moment that she walked in to the moment she left the stage, she told a story. It had levels. It was so entertaining to watch. And the look is fine. It's good. I like the shoes, and I like that the shoes match the robe, and it's all like well put together and styled. It is quite simple though, but I do realize that it's a reference. So it's, if the reference is simple, it's going to be simple. But yeah, I like the robe and I like the shoes. The bodysuit is fine. It fits well. It's lace. It's fine. I don't know what is going on in the crotch area and why she decided to bring attention to that, but maybe it makes sense with the reference. Who knows? Also, I really loved the huge eyelashes. That was because she was like crying, so it made it even more dramatic. And then when she ripped off that wig and started like crying, screaming, bawled on the floor, that's where she got me, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah, the first thing I noticed was the eyelashes, and I was like, "Whoa, these are really cool!" Like, I want to see more of that. We don't really get extreme eyelashes like we saw from her. So that was really cool. Like you said, the delivery was top tier. Like, she was so committed to this role. She really fought hard this week. But there's a ceiling to how much I can like this based on just the quality of the look. Like, it's so basic. Sure, it's probably accurate to the reference, I would hope, but it's just hard to get past that part. She still ended up being my favorite of the night, and it really did come down to the theatrics, the delivery, the pulling out of the hair. Like, all of that is what I kind of come to expect from Lamas. And I see her steering us that direction. So I give her lots of props for that. So it did just barely eke out somebody else to be my favorite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, this is my favorite as well. I'll just say that straight off the bat. And it is mostly just performance of the look more than anything, because the look in and of itself, it is a simple one. But this is more of the vibe of like the stereotypical rich woman from a telenovela vibe that I kind of come to expect. Like, Deborah wanted to be rich woman and she was giving Party City costume. And this is more of the vibe that I kind of wanted to see and kind of what I was expecting. And so I was really glad to see it. But the performance of it really, really elevates it a lot. And like it was just so over the top, and the crying and the screaming, the balding yourself in front of the judges is absolutely iconic. And I really, really appreciate Bárbara really going for it this week. And this is just Bárbara's week. She really shines this entire episode. So I appreciated a lot of what she did. And this look is a fine look, but the performance of it really elevates it. Scores.
I give this a sensible 74.
I gave it a 69.
I gave it an 80.
Okay.
Okay, moving on. We have our last girl. We have Eva. What are our thoughts?
She's the three Marias.
Yes.
Well, see, now knowing that, it does make more sense. And I do appreciate the presentation of this a lot more. However, the looks, I don't like any of them. I mean, she looks good, in the face and all of that. And especially on the last look, like, she looks incredible. But first of all, the length of the first and the second skirt, I can't. Also, the bordello shoes, I hate the shoe. I hate the shoe. I hate this shoe overall. Any bordello, I don't care if it's stoned, right, whatever. I don't like it. But it kind of goes with all of the outfits. Not really. My favorite part of this is the skirt from the second outfit. That's and her and the face and And I think now knowing like the presentation is good when she's like she did clearly change characters when she changed the outfit. Like the presentation was different for each outfit, so I do appreciate that. But the outfits themselves were okay.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't really love these looks, but I love her commitment to the theatrics and the performance. And yeah, I'm holding this to a different standard than I would a more modern season of Lamaze. And I will say the first Maria, at least she has an excuse for hers not looking great. She's blind, so she probably didn't see. But the other two, I don't know. It still was fun to watch. Like it wasn't like, ooh, this is fashion, but it was still an enjoyable presentation of three basic looks. So that was enough to make her second for me tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with a lot of what you guys have already said. The looks are not great, but the performance really helps it a lot. Especially because it is three different performances of three different looks and three different characters. And so I do appreciate the ambition of it. And I think Eva is a really good performer and she does her characters really well. And so I think she did a good job presenting the outfits. But the outfits in and of themselves are not particularly nice to look at. I agree with a lot of what you said, River. I think the second, like the most interesting one is the second one with the skirt, and that's about it. The
I
rest
hate
of
that
them,
top though.
yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
but can you
That's
imagine
why
the top from the first outfit with the skirt from the second? That would work more for me.
You
I
think?
would wear that.
I would do the top from the third with the skirt from the second.
Yeah,
Right, that worked too. Yeah.
I think so too. Because I just don't like the first outfit. Period.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just that outfit is just not it.
Chop.
And like I get it, she's blind, but like there's
But we're not.
blind people can dress properly. Blind people are able to dress themselves properly. So I don't know. The giant bow is also super camp, but I don't know if I like the look of it in and of itself. Yeah, I'll just keep repeating myself if I don't stop now. The looks are not great, but the performance is good. That's about it. Scores
70.
68.
69.
Nice.
Oh.
There you go. Well,
I love that
all the
our
looks.
average is 69.
Yeah. But we're not done yet because now we have to talk about the telenovela challenge. Let's start with Deborah and Margaret. What are our thoughts? What do we think?
This was my favorite part of this whole episode. This was so fun to watch. It was so cool to see the different interpretations of like the same script. Deborah and Margaret were definitely the lowest, like my least favorite. I think they were both fine, but they seemed a bit unsure. And to me, it kind of lacked intensity and intention with what they were doing, you know? I don't know. It was not enough. I wanted more overacting. I wanted more over the top. I just wanted more from both. But it wasn't. It was still like enjoyable to watch. But I don't know. Like I mentioned before, like it's telenovelas are already like too much and over the top and camp. And then if you're gonna do a drag version of something that is already camp, you need to camp it up more. And they didn't really find ways to do that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you're saying. I will say, first of all, this challenge, not only was it my favorite thing of this episode, I think this is my favorite thing from this season so far. Yeah. I really enjoyed this challenge. And I do think if it was just a standalone sketch from Margaret and Deborah, I would think they did well. It really sucks that they are being compared to the next group, which we'll talk about in a second. But for Deborah, I will say that my first initial thought was, oh, the way that she's saying the lines, it sounds very memorized. It does not feel natural, like flowing out of her mouth. And then I paid attention and I was looking at her, and she was really selling it in her face. Like, she had animated expressions. It just did not match with how she sounded vocally. And there was this disconnect there that I wanted her to just sound as natural as she looked. And it never really got there. So I do think that she was probably my least favorite overall in this challenge. Meanwhile, Margaret, I thought she was very natural. Like, I was surprised by how well she was doing with this acting because she was so nervous going into it. But the problem with Margaret is she felt like she was acting for like a movie screen, and I get it's a TV screen, sure, but it's a telenovela. That means you're still dialing it up to 11. You're doing it like you're on a stage, like in theater. So I wanted her to really notch it up a bit. She was doing well with the acting, but not for what the challenge called for. Still, I liked her.
Yeah. I mean, me knowing the scene that we are referencing, it is so camp and so over the top that I was really hoping that both of these teams would really go super, like, incredibly wild into what they were doing. And unfortunately, Deborah and Margaret didn't go as far as I would want them to. They weren't going to 1,000. They were still at 100, which is good. But then comparing them to what we will get to soon, it is just sadly not enough here. I did think that Deborah's accent was a little funny. She had this little accent that I thought was somewhat interesting and somewhat funny. But I agree with you, David. She didn't feel natural in the way that she was saying her lines. And I do think that Margaret was more natural to it. Honestly, I think the real standout of the first one was actually Veneno saying "Mejor me voy por los tamales." That was the funniest part of this sketch, and he kind of told, "Congratulations, Veneno, you are the winner of this week's acting challenge." It was camp. It was camp, and it was like that's the only thing I truly remember from this first sketch, unfortunately. So they did well, but they didn't do as well as I would hope them to do. But who did do well is Bárbara and Eva, who we should talk about now. So, thoughts?
Come on. This, from the moment they started, like, this was good from beginning to end. I was glued to the screen. I watched it twice. It was so good. I was like, when it ended, I was like, okay, I gotta see that again and pay attention to like other things. Bárbara fucking ate that. Hello. I mean, period. But Eva was also really good. To me, Eva was better than Deborah and Margaret, but I still wanted a little bit more. I wanted her to turn up the heat a little bit and go and like just go for it, like take chances. Because it was good, but it felt safe. Like she was maybe scared to like maybe do too much or something. It just felt a little like she held back a little bit, slightly. But when they both walked to the end of the stage and then turned around and said, Act 2, that was so good. That's when I was like, okay, let's go. And then the highlight for me was when Eva said, marijuana can cure cancer. And then Bárbara said, but Eva, you don't have cancer. that really.
Eva, tú no tienes cáncer.
And then Eva was like, you got me, gal. Like, okay. And I don't know if maybe I saw it wrong or maybe she was like crying or something, but it felt to me that like towards the end when Bárbara was kicking Eva down on the floor, which was great. Eva seemed to get out of character a little bit because I feel like I could see her maybe like laughing a little bit and then hiding her face. Like, but I feel like by the end she went out of character like just a little bit, but still did a very good job. But Bárbara was the star of the show.
Yeah, when this challenge started, we saw Veneno like kissing all over Eva, and I was like, "Oh, lucky Eva." And then I thought about it, and I'm like, "Oh, also lucky Veneno." So,
Exactly.
but yeah, immediately Bárbara comes out, dialed at 11, I would say. Like, she was just amazing from start to finish. And what I really liked about her is while she had her incredible over the top moments, she had like such nuances too in her face, like smaller things that if you were paying attention, she committed just as much to the small things as she did to the big things. And I was just really blown away. I was like cracking up even when I would stop like reading the subtitles. I'm like, I don't need to know what they're saying necessarily because I'm getting it just from watching them. And I do agree that Eva was very good in this. The problem is when you have a scene partner like Bárbara doing everything she's doing, it was easy for Eva to fade a bit. And she did fade a little bit, but I don't fully fault her for that. I mean, I don't think her role called for her to be at the same level as Bárbara. If they were both at that same level, it wouldn't have worked.
Also, she was playing a stoner, like so that
exactly. But I will say I wrote this down, and I a day later after watching this, I stand by it. I think this might have been my favorite acting I've seen of this style of acting on any drag show. Like, I was blown away by Bárbara. So good.
Yeah, and I mean, she gets her praises from Lorena soon enough, where she literally tells her like, "You should go into acting classes." So you know that that's a huge compliment coming from Lorena, someone that does telenovelas. So that just tells you all that you need to know about how iconic Bárbara was in this challenge. She really was the standout, as I said before. This is just her episode, and she came in like, as I said, I wanted 1,000, and Bárbara gave me 1,000%, and that's exactly what I wanted. It was just so over the top, so huge, so loud, but so committed to it, and I appreciated that so much. I honestly live for like telling your daughter that you love her while beating the shit out of her is so telenovela and iconic, and I love it all around. Like, that's
How
one of my
Latin of
favorite
them.
things. Yeah, fully. I love you. I love you. I love you. That was so iconic, and I was living for it. Eva also did good. Unfortunately, I do agree with you, David. I do think she failed a little bit because she was next to Bárbara, and Bárbara was at 1,000. So I understand we do need we need a straight man in our story, and since Bárbara is not gonna be it, Eva kind of had to be it. But I think if Bárbara hadn't been there, Eva would have still done a good job with anyone else that she was with. So I think this pairing worked really well. I think the comparison of having the tallest shit daughter that's like 6'5" compared to the 5'4" little thing that is Bárbara was just super funny as well. Everything about Bárbara in this challenge was absolutely iconic, and I was so glad to see her like get a second win in this story, and like I was just living for it. It was iconic.
I will also add, I think that the outfits each of them were wearing worked fairly well with the roles they were given because like Margaret and Eva had the more youthful looks and they were the daughters. So I thought that kind of worked out well.
Yeah.
I think maybe that is how they chose like who was going to play who, because they already had the outfits prepared before they knew they had to do this. So probably.
Yeah. Well, that and Bárbara is Eva's like drag daughter. No, Eva is Bárbara's drag daughter. So it made sense for her to be
life imitating art or art imitating life.
But could you imagine Margaret in this outfit if she was supposed to be Deborah's mother? Like it'd be like,
That would have been so funny, though.
I mean, that would have been
so
camp
funny.
and funny. Exactly.
I guess so.
Hello. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that is the challenge, and we get to the judges' critiques, and as
They're
I said,
blown away.
Lorena gives Bárbara a huge compliment and tells her that she should get acting classes because this is what she needs to do. And next to that, she also tells her that, well, Bárbara, congratulations, tú eres la más. Congratulations. Yay.
Yep.
She also does win the acting challenge. I forgot to say that, but you could have guessed that.
Yep.
I mean, it was pretty
It was a
clear
joint
that
win,
it was
right?
it was her.
It
Yeah,
was a joint win with her and Eva.
both her and Eva got the one extra point, right? But then Barbara was the winner, the solo winner.
Yes.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
In this episode for Barbara, like solidified that either I still don't know who wins the season. I'm 99.9% sure that it's neither of the Drag Race girls. So that narrows it down to two people. And so I'm really hoping Barbara either wins the season or I need to see her back for Drag Race Mexico, especially just knowing that she has talents beyond looks. Like I really feel like that plays more for Drag Race Mexico where there are acting challenges.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm
She's also a great performer, like in the lip syncs. She's a great lip syncer.
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, I guess you'll have to see. I'll ask you what your thoughts are after this. But we do get our bottom two, Las Menos, and our Menos are Deborah and Margaret, unfortunately.
Yeah. Can we talk about the critique about the eyebrows a little bit?
Oh, Lord.
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
What's interesting is this was the first week where I was looking at Margaret on the stage and I was like, those are really thick. Like, were they thicker than normal? Or I don't know if it was something about this look that made them really prominent. And so it ended up being pretty interesting because Letal did bring that up as a critique, like how thick the eyebrows were. But I'm glad Margaret explained herself and why she does that. Because I thought that really like added some context that was pretty important. And I'm hoping that with the 2 episodes we have remaining, one and a half episodes remaining, I hope that's enough for Letal to kind of ease up.
Right.
Yeah, I hope
And
so.
also the judge, I forgot her name, but the judge that is a makeup artist, like that sits on the first chair.
Yari.
Yeah, she loves it. And she even said, like, she asked Margaret, like, is it like I want to recreate it on myself? Like, and that to me kind of is because it is something so different and like it really calls your attention, like it's very much in your face. It can be like very controversial. So I like that we have someone that does not live for it and someone that lives for it, you know? And I think, I don't know if it was thicker for this episode, but I think she had like more drawn in hairs in the middle. Like here, so it kind of made like more of a unibrow.
Maybe.
I think maybe that's why it was like stronger.
Yeah, it did seem kind of thicker than normal. I don't know why. She might have not even added anything. It might just be that the fact that she already has a lot of stuff on her face. Like she's wearing the braces already, and she's wearing heavy makeup as is. So maybe they just bring a lot of attention and they make it just the illusion of them being bigger. I don't know.
Or it's kind of like, did any of you ever do like a wing liner once ever?
I had before.
See, you know the thing when you're like, you do this wing and then it's like, okay, this wing is perfect. And then you're going to try to recreate it on the other side. And then it doesn't match. And so you have to make this one a little bit bigger. And then it doesn't match again. Then you have to make this one.
Yes.
And maybe something like that happened. It was like uneven and then she had to make it thicker so it was even.
That's possible.
That's very possible.
Yep.
That's very possible. I wouldn't blame her if that was the case, because Lord knows that's why.
I'd rather have like large eyebrows than uneven eyebrows, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Well, we get a lip sync of Margaret versus Deborah. to Dos Mujeres, Un Camino by Laura Leon. What did we think? What are our thoughts about this episode?
I think they both did good.
Mhm.
I liked Margaret's like little footwork, and she did a lot like in the face. And the one thing that she did that kind of like caught my attention the most was when she took out like the picture and then like ripped it, and all of that, the dramatics of that. But Deborah, when she like first she started like taking out like I think it was petals or something out of her boobs,
Mhm.
and then just throwing like, and then she took out both the breasts when the lyrics was saying duas or dos mujeres, and then it was like she kind of did like the boobs were it was just so good, like the timing of it. And then she used one of them to like dry her tears, and then she pretended to eat one of them. Like it was just the breast work was very entertaining to me. I really felt that deep in my breasts.
Mhm.
Yeah, I had kind of a different experience because I kept having my eyes drawn towards Margaret the whole time. Like there was something about the way she was performing that just kept drawing my attention. And I think it's especially impressive considering she was staying in the same spot. Like she was not doing a lot like with the stage. She was doing basically a park and bark there, and it still was enough to like really get my focus. So I had to force myself to watch Deborah a little bit, and I did like what she was doing as well. Like I don't think it was a big knockout for either one of them. It was pretty close, but for me, it was definitely leaning towards Margaret.
Yeah. I think this is one of the closest lip syncs that we've had this season. I think they both did well, but they also had like little things that I wasn't fully living for. Like my attention constantly kept going to Deborah. Personally, like I kept looking at Deborah because she was doing all of the work with the boobs and everything. But then when she started eating the boob, she kind of lost me a little bit. I was like, why are you eating your boob? Like everything else was fine, but then when you started eating it, I was confused.
It's
Uh,
all okay until you start eating it.
yeah, I was like, okay, you are using both of your boobs as, okay, these are the two women that we're singing about. And then I am drying my tears with one of them. Okay, that makes sense. We've seen that before where like, oh, I'm patting off my sweat with my boob. Okay. But then she started eating it, and I was like, okay, now we're doing a little too much. We're relying a little bit too much on the boobs. Just a little. And then I thought that Margaret was doing well, but I wanted her to do a little bit more than she was. Like she wasn't calling my attention enough as is with what she was doing. So there were good things and bad things about both of them, but I guess since Deborah kept calling my attention, I would give the win to her personally, but that's just me.
See, me too. Like to me, I don't think it was like a slam dunk or like that Deborah like ate her up or anything. It wasn't like so far, but I do think that to me Deborah did better on the lip sync. So, but I wanted Margaret to stay, so I was like,
Yeah.
okay, to me Deborah won, but I don't want Margaret to go home.
But wouldn't this be one where it's close enough that you can just go by track record?
You
See, that's the
could.
thing. I even though I thought that Deborah won, I wouldn't have been mad if they gave the win to Margaret, and it would be fine by me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
But
we get the voting, and first of all, Yari straight up refuses to vote at first
right.
because she's crying so hard because she doesn't want to eliminate
Aw.
either of these girls, which I think is really sweet, honestly. But I felt like Arisa Cox, you can
and you will.
you can and you will. And then what happens? Of course, we have a tie and we don't have a tiebreaker because we have 4 judges instead of 5. So
Could this have
what
been
does that
pre-planned?
mean?
Could this
Yeah,
have been?
could this have been pre-planned, huh? So what does this mean? What does this mean?
What
Well,
does
it
this
means
Deborah
that
mean?
what does this Deborah mean? What does this Deborah mean? Well, luckily for them, and I guess unfortunately maybe for us, I don't know. It depends on how you look at it. No one goes home. Yay!
Yeah.
I mean,
guess.
I not mad, but because of what I thought of the results, like I think it would have been weird if Deborah was eliminated because I think she won the lip sync, but then I also didn't want Margaret to go home, so like I'm happy. But I bet the girls were not. The other two girls.
Yeah. I mean, I
feel conflicted because it's cool that we have 4 people in the finale and all, but just I have a very unique perspective here because, like I said, I'm pretty sure the Drag Race Mexico queens don't win. And at this point, if it's a 2-horse race between Deborah and Bárbara, I'm significantly more invested in Bárbara. She hasn't had the perfect run, but I think she's had higher highs than Deborah has this season. And now I'm just nervous because for a second I was like, okay, I know who's winning. Bárbara's won the season. But now I'm like, I don't know. And I'm thinking back to the last like regular La Mas season I watched, and there was a finale with 4 people and 3 of them I really liked. And guess who won?
the one that you didn't care about.
Damn.
Yeah. So I'm like, is that going to happen again?
Who knows?
I'm nervous.
Who knows? Yeah, because La Mas is known because once the finale comes, your track record no longer matters.
And it's so true. It is so
you win
true.
based on your performance in the finale. That's it. So you could have been in the bottom every single episode and still win. You could have not won any challenges and still win. So anything is possible now that we're in the finale. I'm personally slightly conflicted, mostly because it is a 7-girl cast and a top 4. So it feels a little mean to the 3 girls that got eliminated. Like, if it was like 4 girls getting eliminated, that would feel a little better because that's what we were expecting for. But then we just eliminated 3 girls and we kept the other 4. And like, it feels like we didn't lose a lot of girls, and like, it doesn't feel like a huge accomplishment of like, oh, I made it to the finale. It's like, oh, I just beat 3 girls and that's it. That's all I needed to do. It doesn't feel as like important as like, oh, I made the final 3 in this scenario, because like it's more than half of the girls being in the finale. So that bothers me a little, but at the same time, I didn't want Margaret to go home, and I did think Deborah won the lip sync, so I am not complaining that Margaret stayed, but I wouldn't have been totally opposed if she had lost the lip sync and had gone home.
I mean, it means that for the season we have more tops than bottoms, and that's just unrealistic.
It is kind of
Fully.
When has there been more tops than bottoms?
Never.
Which I'm not complaining about. I love that. I love that.
I mean, top representation. We don't get that a lot of Drag Race or in drag channels / competitions.
Yep.
It's a lot of bottoms. So
I am curious though, like if we take out the fact that we might have some knowledge about other things, like if this is a blank slate, who would you be rooting for to win out of this top 4? Because
I can tell you who I was rooting for when I originally watched the season. When I originally watched the season, I was like, oh, they didn't send Margaret home because they want her to win. So Margaret is probably going to win. That was my thought process when I was first watching this. And who knows, maybe it's become reality.
Right. That is kind of my thought process, like watching it now. Because like, here's the thing. I don't think that if they win, that they would go on another drag competition reality show. And like, because if you win, but also, I don't know, because who knows? But if I don't count that, then I think with them getting Margaret to the finale and she making the finale, I would also think that maybe it's kind of like not set up for her to win, but like they really see something in her and there's a possibility of her winning. But, and also I can't, it's really hard for me to be like, okay, pretend that I didn't watch Drag Race Mexico season 2 and I'm not in love with Eva Blunt. Like I can't, I can't. So I am rooting for her, but the person that I feel like should win based on not necessarily doing well in the season, but just like having the best journey on the season and having like highs and lows and like the whole narrative and storyline is Bárbara. Like go like I don't know, one of the judges said like that she went from like the literal bottom to like the top.
Yep.
Like she wrote like that's very much winner energy to me. So
Yeah, I have a lot of the same thoughts as you, River, because like, okay, I made it clear Deborah is not my favorite in this cast. But looking at the other three, I think if I'm going off of the person that I've connected with the most, yeah, that's definitely Margaret. Like, there's just something so endearing about her vulnerability. Plus, she's done well in most of the challenges as well. So like, there's that aspect. But the person I think has been the most consistent throughout the challenge or the challenges is Eva. Like, I think she's done so well. Like, she's never been near the bottom for me, not that I can remember. So I think she would make a very consistent and deserving winner. But I think while Bárbara has been the highest highs and lowest lows, I think she was kind of underappreciated in the beginning with some of those looks.
sure.
And then she did my single favorite thing anybody's done this season with this acting challenge. So I'm kind of like, I want her to win. I think it is Bárbara, like even taking into account my love for the other two from Drag Race Mexico. I think Bárbara is the person that should win this season.
Well, I know who wins, and I am so excited for you to watch the finale next week, which we will also be covering. So make sure to come back next week once we cover the finale and maybe the reunion. We'll see what happens.
If there's
there.
anything relevant to the conversation.
Yeah, if there's anything relevant to the conversation, we'll bring it up. Don't worry about it. But it will be mostly, it'll be mostly the finale. We will have a winner next week, but before we talk about that, we just have to say thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. All of our links will be down in the description below. Also, make sure to get your merch at loungediscretion.etsy.com. As I said, all of the links will be down in the description below, along with all of our socials and our other challenge. And with that being said, thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see y'all next time. Cheers.
Cheers.